Okay, what does masculinity mean to me? And before I really get into this, all the things that I'm saying do not just apply to male-identified people, masculine people, you know, and stuff. It really applies to everyone, male, female, young and old, you know. But these are things that I picked for myself to, you know, to be a better person, and also what type of man I want to be. But it doesn't just apply to men or masculinity. So I'm going to start off with values that that I live by, really. Let's see. The first one right here is selfless service. You know, doing things for others and not expecting anything in return. And there's many of times that I have turned down gifts from people and help from people, knowing that they weren't trying to help me, but they were doing this so I would do something for them, which I don't really like. And so I don't do that to other people. If I'm doing something for someone, I'm not going to expect not a thing from them, because else I wouldn't be doing it out of the goodness of my heart, you know. So another thing, discipline, duty, bravery, valor, thoughtfulness. Because, you know, I know when my mom goes out to the store and she'll see something that I like and she'll buy it for me. Just, you know, it's nice to know somebody was thinking about you. And then, or I'll go to a store and I'll know my sister, maybe she likes this type of ice cream, and then I give it to her and she's like, oh, I love those, you know. And not only does it make the person happy that you were thinking about them, for me it makes me happy to give something to somebody, and then that makes them happy. So let's see, and with honesty, you know, it's very important to me. And one thing about just, you know, my short 26 years of living, if you don't want to fess up to doing things that are wrong, don't do those wrong things in the first place. And that really works. Then you don't have to worry about being tempted to lie about something because you didn't do anything wrong that you would feel tempted to lie about. So, in honesty, you know, and if I were to do something like bad, whether it's steal a candy bar or do something like worse than that, which I try to avoid, you know, hurting people and stuff, but let's fess up to it. And just because I admitted to what I did that was wrong does not mean that I expect an apology right away. I mean, not apology, that I expect to be forgiven right away. Even if I sincerely apologize and remorseful, and I'm like, you know, I feel bad, just because I fess up and apologize does not mean that person is, I expect that person to forgive me right away, because depending on the level of what it was, I might take them time, and so I'm not going to bug them about it. But on the other hand, when somebody, this is what I think, if somebody does something wrong to me, that once I you know, well, they apologize and I forgive them, does not mean if we get into an argument, I bring up what they did, because then I truly didn't forgive them. If we're in an argument, like, you remember what you did last year or last week or last month, then I didn't forgive them. So and also taking responsibility, you know, accepting punishments, accepting all the consequences, you know, from, you know, my actions and stuff. And the thing is, also, forgiveness and apologies, for lots of people it's hard to forgive and apologize, and I'm no different. And So I'm really working on the apology thing, and I'm taking little baby steps and stuff, but it's going well. You know, it's like apologies for me are like I have a tiny chisel and a little hammer, and I'm trying to get through a giant freaking concrete wall that's like a foot wide, and I'm trying to get through, right? But I'm still working on it. But all my values and morals that I have are things that I already do or that I'm working on, you know, to better myself. So the other thing is you know, you can tell people that these are your values and these are your morals, but if you don't take action, and know if I have these set things and I'm not taking action on them, that, you know, they're just words. Now I'm going to talk about so-called duties that are considered feminine and masculine. And with me, this is pretty obsolete, because if the person has the desire or capability to do a job, let them do the job, regardless if the job is considered a masculine job or a feminine job. You know, like, you know, if you know, a man wants to be a stay-at-home dad, let him. Who cares, right? Or if a woman wants to go out and do like be a construction worker and build buildings, an architect, whatever. As long as I don't care if somebody's female, masculine or feminine. If you have a desire to do the job and you're good at it, who cares? You know. But there are some things that the only reason why I would not want if my sister, mother, or daughter to be in the infantry is not, and being, especially being born female myself and being in the military, it'd be really silly of me to, you know, to you know, say, oh, you know, that, you know, women can't do this or that. That actually would make no sense. But the only reason why I would slightly oppose that is because the violence that is committed against women. You know, so I don't want the females in my family to go into situations like that where they can be raped and beaten and tortured and held captive. And that would be the only reason. It's not capability. It's also not that I value female lives over men's life, because all people's life, every life in the whole world is very valuable. But the way this world is, and the imperfect world we live in, and the violence against women, that would be the only reason why I wouldn't want anybody to go to war or be on the front lines. I don't want my brothers there either. But if my brothers are captured as a POW, they'll be tortured and killed. The likelihood of them being raped is lower than somebody that's female. And a lot of other countries, if they see a female soldier, she's gonna just be tortured and beaten and just, you know, lots of things. You know, not just because she's opposing force, or she'll just be, you know, just because she's a female in uniform, like, you know, and which is sad, you know, just and even in companies in the army, when you're a female soldier, you're treated less than. Even your supposedly comrades will commit sexual assault. So, you know, it's not anybody's capability or anything. It's just we live in a violent world, you know. And that comes another thing about me, is that I can't stand injustice or anything, and all these values and morals I have, I act on them. I truly act on them. Like when I was in Oakland, I was living there with my dad and stuff, and I was going to summer school there. I was taking the bus home from school, and there's these 4 guys. I think there was 4 guys. There might have been 5, but I'm gonna just say 4 guys that were harassing my friend. Right? I didn't think of one. I didn't hesitate at all when I said, you know, can you leave him alone? He's not bothering you and blah blah. And then they get in my face. It's like, what the hell are you doing? We're not even talking to you. I said, I know, but this is my friend. I need you to, you know, leave. Can you stop? You know, just go. Nobody's harming you or anything, you know. And then so they laid off him and then started on me, and then somebody else, a female came. She's probably around my age, you know, like 15, 16 years old, came up and said, you know, if those are your friends, wouldn't you stand up for them yourself? And then so they leave me alone and start just harassing the hell out of her and stuff. And I go to the bus driver and say, you know, something bad is most likely going to happen. Could you call the police? You know, and he's like, no, I can't do anything. She didn't come and ask me for help. I'm like, I know, but you can stop what's about to occur right now. He was like, oh, no, because he was, you know, he was scared of these 4 male teenagers. And so then I tried to call the police on my phone. And in Oakland, or lots of places, but especially in Oakland, I was on hold, and I was like, oh shit, you know, I'm gonna be on hold, and something bad's gonna happen, and so then I kept calling. I was on hold for a really long time. Got to the bus stop, and they drug her off the bus. Everybody's just standing watching, and I'm like, nobody's gonna do anything. All these big guys on the bus are just gonna sit there. And so I look down at the ground, take a deep breath, and I step off the bus, and I, you know, try to be as intimidating as I can be. And you know, just in their faces, just like blah blah blah, right. And I was like, I know, there's 4 of them, you know, but I'm trying not to, you know, look, you know, in distress or, you know, afraid in any way. But and then they started walking and taking her down the street. I'm like, oh my god, nobody's doing anything, you know. And so I'm standing there, and I'm like, fuck, and I'm on hold still, and then one of them comes up to me and well, basically is trying to rob me. And my happy ass is like, what? You know? And I was like, he's like, give me your phone. I'm like, I don't know. I just start staring at him like this, and then all of a sudden I get hit. I get hit here and here, and when I get hit here, I black out, and I'm falling, but I come back to consciousness as I'm falling, and I catch myself. And then after that, I can't really remember anything, but I never felt rage in my whole entire life, and I never have since that day. And I had my skateboard in my hand, and then they all ran over to see what was going on, and then she was there. I freaked out. I was picking up my skateboard, and then they all ran away. I don't remember nothing. It's just like a blur to me. And they all left, and I was like, fuck, you know. And then and she turned and looked at me. But when I was about to swing the skateboard, she put her hand on my arm and said, no, don't do that, you know. And then they ran away, but she said, don't worry about it. I have cousins and uncles, and I know who they are, so I'll take care of it. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I guess that's how, you know, it is there. But anyway, after that incident, after I was at summer school there, I went back to my mom's. So I just don't, you know, have these values and morals, and you know, just, you know, I actually follow through with them and do them, and I hope my mom doesn't watch this. I never told this story to my mom. I only told this story to 2 people. I hope my mom doesn't see this, because she's gonna be very, very mad at me. So but I think stopping whatever they were gonna do to her was very important to me. So